Okay. And I appreciate all these questions, by the way. And these are really good questions. And if there's any questions that you have that you can think of related to this or anything else in your career, I think that's helpful to ask that for other people as well. Okay. Establishing a personal brand seems crucial, but I've struggled with defining and promoting mine. How can I approach building a distinctive brand with legal profession? What role does it play in treating my career like a small business? Great question. Okay. So the brand, the first thing you understand is the most important component of your brand, of a brand, is what you do and do not do. So that's the most important. So meaning, what do you do? Do you do mergers and acquisitions? Do you do employment defense? What do you do? And I think that's a very interesting question. What is it that you do? If you go to BCG and you want to search for jobs, I don't even know how this works. It's upsetting, like this website work. But so you have all of these practice areas. Look at all these practice areas. There's an incredible number of practice areas. You have all these different things. You have antitrust general, litigation, corporate antitrust. You have under corporate, you have all of these different things. You've got M&A, contract law, compliance, under data privacy. You have transaction, under education. You have all these different things. So the smartest thing you can do, anybody, is to establish a brand doing one thing. If you had education, school district, and school boards, if you had education special needs, like, it's very interesting, by the way. So when I look at these practice areas, like, I go through and I look at the percentages of people getting interviews and so forth. So the highest number of interviews versus submissions is with education special needs. I don't know why that is, but certain things are more marketable than others. And so that's something that is important for you to understand, like, why are certain practice areas more marketable than others? And so the thing that people do that's smart is they're able to drill in to something specific. And by doing that, are much better prepared to do things in the market. Even with family law, it's very interesting. So you have adoption law, divorce law, and all these sorts of things. And so that's in general. So there's just different things. So what do you do? But it's what you do and what you don't do. You're better off doing something like, I don't know, labor and employment. I guess it would be plaintiffs than doing litigation, defense, plus workers. So you're better off having a brand that stands for something and one thing. And then and once you have that brand, people will look for you. So the example that I give, and there's a lot of them, sometimes people will be looking for a certain type of attorney. So you want to be that attorney. So watch this right now. I shouldn't do this as for person, but mess, even if I'm doing this right. So what is it? Mess. I don't even know how to spell it. Meth. Yes, this is right here. So watch this. Someone just spent $50 for this when I clicked on it. But this is an example of an attorney that's doing something in a very specified practice area. These attorneys, by the way, make incredible amounts of money doing these lawsuits because there's $30 billion available in these trust funds. Most cases settle between 1 to 2 million. It's just crazy. But the point is that you pick some sort of practice area, you stand for something, and by standing for something, you continually will get better and better at it, and you will attract people to it. So when you say it's what you do and what you don't do. So my entire career, like, I learn new stuff every day. Every day I'll learn 50 things. Literally, I'll learn 50 things about placing people in law firms. I'll learn about what's this and what's that, and what's this. And I wouldn't learn that I do permanent law firm placements. What does that mean? That means I only place people permanently in law firms. And I could do contract placements. I could do in-house placements. I could spend time placing attorneys or placing people in companies that weren't attorneys. I could do all sorts of things, but I do one thing and I learn about it. And because I know about it and I keep getting better at it. And that's basically what my brand is, do one thing and I don't do other things. So your brand has to be about getting good at one thing. And whatever that is, it could be mesothelioma. It could be defending or filing suits. This is on behalf of longshoremen. It could be doing corporate law, or it could be doing project finance, all these different things. And project finance, it could be specializing in Southeast Asia. So everyone that's very good and gets ahead in the legal profession, most people, they have a brand and it's defined by doing one thing and not doing others. And that's the biggest secret, because if you think about, and I give this example a lot, but think about if you were injured or if you were sick and you had a brain tumor or you had I don't know, something growing on your heart or something, you would look for someone that was an expert in brain tumors. You would look for someone that did a certain type of thing. I met this guy, I thought it was disgusting, but there's this attorney or this doctor that I went to college with. I knew him, and he specializes in doing some very rare, complex operation for dying children, and gets flown all over the world, like where there's very rich people, like the Saudi Arabia and things, where he charges $300,000 for this operation or whatever, and which is probably not cool. But anyway, the point is that you specialize. And so everyone that's specialized in something tends to do much better than people that aren't specialized. So I run a national recruiting firm, and we study all these different markets. If I was a recruiter and I was a law firm recruiter sitting in Charleston, South Carolina, and there's only 20 firms there, I would probably know everyone in those firms very well. I would have a better sense of and I might be, frankly, I'm not saying this as any insult on myself, but if someone is an expert in a very small market and it's all they do and talk to people all day there, they may have a brand of being local and knowing more people and all that sort of thing. So my only point to you is that you need to define yourself by a practice area. And once you define yourself by a practice area, then that's really the most important thing you can do. Because someone that goes to the Smith-Senioma law firm site, a client, doesn't care where the attorney went to school. They don't care about what they did, they don't even care about anything. The only thing they care about is that the person can do that type of work. Now, big companies want to have certain things going on in their background. Like they want to have, wow, there's a lot of money this guy's bringing in, but they want to have certain types of attorneys working on their matters. So in large companies, if you're doing commercial litigation, are going to want certain types of people. But the biggest thing to understand with your practice area is defining yourself by a practice area. Once you define yourself on a practice area, define yourself based on a practice area, then you need to be seen doing that practice areas about that practice area. So that means you need to write, you need to talk, you need to do social media posts, you need to do all these sorts of things to get out there. And then you can also get experience working for someone else, whatever you want to do, man. But the point is that you need to be seen, and in order to promote it, you need to be seen. So you need to do one thing, and the better you do that one thing, the more you're seen, the better off you're going to be. And I could say this to you in a million different ways, but the point is you have to define your brand pretty much doing one thing, and then you have to decide how you're going to promote yourself. Are you going to just go to work for someone else and say, hey, I do corporate general work? Or are you going to decide, like the attorney I told you about earlier in this presentation that makes $7 million a year guaranteed, that you're going to represent, and are you going to decide that you want to work on certain size companies doing a certain type of transaction? So that's really, I hope, is some of the most important advice I can give you related to this.